Well, speaking of how people are doing, I remember in the first days of isolation, there were all these articles about there maybe being a baby boom in 9 months because people are in the same space together and there's nothing to do. And maybe there's going to be a lot of baby making. But in recent days, there's been an equal amount of conversation about intimacy levels and whether or not libidos are kind of active. Gwyneth Paltrow went on YouTube this week with her husband, and they talked to an intimacy coach about keeping up with relationships right now. And Gwyneth claims she was asking for a friend about getting intimate with your partner and whether or not it's okay to not be in the mood. So let's get personal for a change, ladies. What's happening? What's happening at home?
I will say that last week I stumbled across an Instagram post of an acquaintance of mine, and she's a mom of I think 2 or 3 kids, and she shared with the world that she was having like the best sex of her life, and I was like, good for you, but I am so not there. And I'm happy to report that Jess also wrote us on Twitter, and she said, and I quote, "What sex life? My kids block us from sex and my mother lives with us." So I'm here with you, Jess. I feel you, because it is a logistical nightmare, especially if you're a parent. And I'm only a parent of 1. There's 3 of us in this house, and basically our mornings are we get up at like just before 7, and he is on us for the entire day until like 8 p.m. And I feel like we are also in this kind of survival mode. And being in survival mode and taking in the type of news that we're taking in, it's not a sexy feeling, at least for me. And I hope people out there who are listening to this also recognize that it's normal to feel that way. Sex has an ebb and flow, and if it's working on for you to fire you up, great. And if it's not, that's okay too.
I feel really lucky that we both feel very close to each other right now, and there certainly isn't a lack of intimacy. We're hugging several times a day, we're spooning at night, and that is just fine by me. I have said a couple of times, get that thing away from me, because I think communication is important, and I just want us to be on the same page throughout this whole thing, as long as we understand each other. But Tiffany on Facebook says, "Our sex life is booming. It's a nice stress reliever and distraction from what's happening in the world." And to that, Tiffany, I say good for you and bravo.
Wow. Oh my God, Jess, you are absolutely killing me.
Well, okay, so I'm going to go to the opposite end of things, okay? Tiffany, to Lisa now. Lisa on Facebook says, "My husband is an emergency responder, so we are sleeping in separate beds. In case he does catch something, I won't get it, and I can still look after the kids." Lisa, thanks so much for sharing, because that's the reality, right? If one of the partners is a first responder on the front lines, you've got to think about that. Who's going to be there for the kids if one of you gets sick? So this is, stark reality right now.
This is Melissa on Facebook, not this Melissa, another Melissa. She writes to us, "I'm a nurse." So same to your point, a first responder. "I'm a nurse, so I'm staying away from him. I can't wait for this to be over so I can jump him." Yeah, girl. You get it, Melissa. You get yours when you can get yours, okay? What I am going to add to this is that a lot of people, especially if you're not used to staying at home with the kids, they're all getting a taste of what it's like to be a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home parent. And when people are like, "Oh, what happened to your libido?" It's like, oh, now you get it? So I am a parent, I'm a cook, I'm a nurse, I'm a psychotherapist, I'm a teacher, I'm all these things. And P.S., for some people, libido requires like energy. And like you said, Cyn, at the end of the day, what do you have left? You're like, you know what I need is a hot bath and silence. That's what I need.
I will say what's interesting, though, is I'm hearing and I'm reading about singles during this time and how they're getting really creative. Like before, there was a lot of complaints that I heard from my single friends about hookup apps and how you felt very disposable and it was all about sex. Well, now, everyone protecting themselves, you have to get more creative. So it sounds like people are kind of going back to the old school. They might hop on a social media app and actually do FaceTime together or something like that. And you have to get more creative. In fact, New York City was so worried about people connecting during this very, very volatile time that the health department put out a statement, and it got passed around on social media, which was reminding people, and it's always a good thing to remember, that self-love is the safest sex of all.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
I want to take it to Sabrina on Facebook. Sabrina says, it used to be infrequent. Now it's completely non-existent. So echoing a lot of your sentiments that we've heard. I think that it's not only about energy, but it's also about confidence. For me, my libido is in direct relationship to my confidence. And it's not like I don't have confidence in me right now. It's just that I think that confidence levels in everything are quite low, right? We're scared and we are unsure. And so when I don't have any swagger in myself and the world, I'm not sexy walking into anybody's bedroom, not even my own, like even for self-love. And then the other component to it is that I used to work before all this. I used to leave home at 6 a.m. and then I used to come home at 6 p.m. So it gave me a chance to miss Yasik. And that, to me, attraction is like, is so dependent on missing somebody and not having them around all the time. Like, it's not like I forgot what he looked like, but when I would come home at 6 p.m., I'd be like, oh yeah, you're really hot. Whereas now, like, yes, he's attractive, but I just saw you 30 seconds ago, right? There's not that missing element.
Oh dear.